Hi everyone, Kat here. Welcome to my channel. Well, it's Wednesday morning. We're just a few days out from the coronation. And don't you know, it's been a big week for interviews. We've had two. We've had the Markle family, Thomas Markle, Samantha, and Thomas Jr. being interviewed by Australian TV. And we've had a very rare interview with Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, by CBC television in Canada. The CBC, that is our state-owned media here, much the same as the BBC, is the equivalent of the BBC in Canada. Now let's start with the Markles. First of all, I've got to say, I think it's very savvy of them to have gone to an Australian news group for the interview, because what they've had to say, I mean, we know. Meghan's treated them terribly. They've lied about them. They've disparaged her, and Harry have disparaged her family, lied about them, smeared them. It is really quite appalling, and they do have a right to fight back. They do have a right to tell their story and tell the world about what kind of person she really is. However, the one thing I have a problem with, especially right now, and I mean, I'm not a flag-waving, super-duper royalist. However, this is the week of the coronation. It's a big deal for Britain, for the king, for the royal family, and those around them. The coronation should be what is focused on. Yet, just days before, so that they get maximum coverage, because you know everybody's going to be talking about it, this is when they choose to do the interview. Maximum impact, maybe, but, you know, for all that Thomas Markle Sr. says he respects King Charles and that he respects the royal family, this interview and the timing of it was absolutely self-serving. If he had that level of respect, I think he could have done it, you know, air it 2 days after the coronation. Why do you have to do it now with everything going on? It's much the same way that Meghan and Harry were criticized for the Oprah interview when they knew Philip was very ill and close to death. Why did you do this to hurt everybody now? You know, why are the Markles doing this now? To pull all the attention onto them and take it away from King Charles and the coronation. That's just my thought on it. Certainly, I think they have every right to do what they're doing. And yeah, they have been hurt and they have been damaged, and they do have the right to correct that. But I just think the timing was a little too self-serving, a little too trailer trashy for my liking. It smacked to the same kind of behavior that we criticize Harry and Meghan for all the time. So that's my thoughts on the Markle interview. Now let's go on to Princess Anne. In a very rare interview, I mean, she has done a few over the years, but not too many. She sat down with Adrian Arsenault of CBC News in Canada to talk about a wide range of things. Now, Princess Anne is the kind of person, she doesn't mince words. She's very forthright and direct. She says what she means, and she's got strong opinions, and she doesn't apologize for those strong opinions. Now, as far as the slimming down of the monarchy. When she was asked about that, she did say, maybe it's not the greatest plan to implement things to that degree right now, because in fact, like she said, when they first started talking about it, it made sense because there was a lot of older cousins, older aunts and uncles, and the older dukes and this and that, and then some of the younger royals, that are 2 or 3 kind of families removed from the center of things. And yeah, they wanted to adjust the monarchy so that those on the payroll, so to speak, would be the working royals, and those would be the ones that would have access to funds from the royal accounts. So, but given the fact now, as Anne said, there's less royals than they had originally anticipated, because, of course, with Andrew having to be sidelined and Harry and Meghan leaving, that's three principal royals that would have taken up the work. Now, we know Princess Beatrice and Eugenie have never really been working royals, so I don't see much of a future of them coming in and stepping up. We do have Edward and Sophie's children. The daughter, she's I think 18 or 19 now, she's in university, and the younger son is still a teenager. Now, in a few years, should they decide that they will pledge their service to the monarchy and become working royals, so we've got 2 up and coming, possibly. William and Kate's children, George is only 9 years old. And even as a future heir, I mean, it's going to be a decade before we see him doing anything, having any serious kind of a public role, at least 18, and possibly longer than that, because, of course, he's going to have university years and this kind of thing as well. So the point Anne was saying was, maybe we shouldn't make too heavy-handed of decisions right now regarding a real shakeup in the monarchy, given that it's been kind of, just by circumstances, shaken up a bit, Another thing that Anne was asked about was Charles sort of being in approval of looking into, after this article was written, and about the role of the monarchy in slavery, and that, I don't know, a few kings ago, there was issues in the royal family. Well, I'll tell you, there was issues with every country. I mean, slavery was widespread, and it wasn't something that was exclusive to England. It's not something that was exclusive to the rulers, the kings. But, the idea that Charles should be welcoming an investigation of this, which would lead possibly to some kind of talk of reparations and everything, it's just a big rat's nest that should be left well alone. Pretty much, Princess Anne said, that's in the past. And here's the thing, we can learn from the past. That's what you're supposed to do, learn from history so you don't make those mistakes again. And she just said, it's in the past. It's got to stay there. We can't dredge it up. And she did allude to the fact that, slavery really isn't dead, but it's not Britain's fault. And she was alluding to things like child labor, the human trafficking with all the immigration problems that Britain and other countries are having, that the practice has shifted, but it's still alive and well. And instead of going back 500 years to find fault and look for somebody to blame, we should be dealing with the issues as they're manifesting now. And I think that's quite brilliant. Princess Anne is truly loyal. She was truly loyal, of course, to the Queen, her mother, and she's truly loyal to Charles as king. It's her role to be supportive and do everything she can do for the monarchy and for the public in her role as a working royal, and one of the most senior working royals, next to the king himself and William and Kate. So it was a really good interview. You can find it online. It's worth a listen because she doesn't talk often, and it's very interesting that she's come out and done this interview as well, just days before the coronation. I find the timing quite interesting. So there you go. There's a couple of interviews to look up and listen. There's my thoughts on them. Go ahead and listen to them yourself. Leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you're thinking about all this. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.